Facebook Live, please?
I sure will.
Okay. Okay, we're live on Facebook and we're live on Blog Talk Radio. So, greetings to the body of the people. We're out of the Facebook penalty box when it comes to the primary account, which has a much larger following. Although let's get into this because everything really needs to be sussed out when talking about this operation, because I can tell you that despite the fact that I have probably more than quadruple the combination of friends and followers on my primary Facebook account, which I just got released out of the penalty box for something that was posted back in 2016. I believe about the death of that Holocaust hoaxer Elie Wiesel or something like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it was. This is what I think it was. But in any event, despite the fact that I have over 5,000 friends and 1,600 followers on my primary Facebook account and less than 2,000 friends and less than 300 followers on my secondary gets much more views. It gets much more activity. It is appearing in my Facebook feed on my primary account much more than my secondary account. My point is that they control all of this. We've already exposed everything. I don't know what else to say to people. There's nothing else to say except for if somebody wishes to come at us and say that there's something wrong with us because we stand behind the Constitution and the fact that it requires the abolition of the government and the handing over of the tools of our enslavement over to us. And if somebody thinks that we're out of hand because we wish to have political and military and power of speech, and that our voice is a voice to be heard, then they can do that. And if the majority of the public takes their side, that's fine. The majority of the public is feckless, they're stupid, they're immoral, and they're irrational. And so we all know in this business, I mean, sometimes folks get carried away, including myself, when I start seeing videos that I've made, quote unquote, going viral or appearing on television or anything like that. Nobody knows. The public doesn't know who we are. David, what is it?
Yeah, I really hate interrupting you, but I'm trying to log into your secondary account so I can title the show, but it kept saying incorrect password after I typed it in 3 different times. Now it's giving me the option to reset it, so I hope you...
No, don't reset it, David. Are you sure you're not trying to enter the other account and using one account? Okay, so you're sure that that's not the case, David? David, then you must have. I just got in entering this number, David. How about this? I'm going to send it again to your email on my iPad as soon as I can load that up. But what do you think the issue is?
I don't know. It just keeps saying incorrect password after I've typed in 4 times the same one you gave me that I've written down.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna send it again, and I just entered this account that you're attempting to get into using what the password is. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but why don't you title the show if you can log into the account, and then I'll share it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm sending you this too. I'm sending you this too. Okay. All right. So we're gonna try to type. I don't know how we're gonna title the show. We're just maybe we'll just title the show after the show. The show is titled "The Law Requires Abolition of Government, Capital Punishment for Officials." Greetings, Sarah Smith. I'm sorry that we have all these issues every single week, and it's very frustrating. But in any event, all that aside, because none of that matters. So, as I was saying before, if folks wish to attack us, and I'm talking about government agents who attack us, and what we say, and we say it over and over again. Everybody else, unless they're saying exactly what we're saying, is a government agent. Whether they know it or not, they could be lying to themselves. But what I'm telling you is you don't enter this kind of field. And what I'm trying to, now I'm getting back to what I was talking to before. Nobody knows, the general public in Richmond, maybe some of the general public knows who I am. Maybe in certain other parts of the country. Otherwise, it's a very obscure little niche that we are involved in when talking about the highest crimes of the government and how everything the government does is criminal, and about how the Jewish mob or international Jewry controls all the governments of the world. It's really niched out. Folks, they don't in general know who's talking, about this sort of stuff. So, we already know that, maybe a few million people, watch our stuff. Hey, if we're on the news and on Al-Alam TV, maybe 50 million people are watching my segments. If I'm on Press TV, maybe a million people altogether, watch that stuff. I don't know how many people watch that. I've been over this again and again. But, in general, the public can't handle this information. They are too stupid to find out what the information is, and I'm talking about the majority of the public, and they're too stupid, and they wouldn't be able to handle it anyways. So all this talk about we need to build numbers, and some folks aren't caught up to speed, or blah blah blah. They're erroneous to me. They're irrelevant, because the masses are slaves. They always have been, and they always will be. They're mind-controlled slaves. Now, does that mean that rulers of these slaves have to necessarily be amoral? Have to take advantage of these individuals and wage war against them? No. But what I'm saying is, nobody knows who Jake Morhonios is. Nobody knows who Adam Green is. No, these guys are nobodies. See, if you make your living on the internet exclusively, you're absolute nobodies. But when you do things in real life, like you go on news programs that are seen by millions of people, and you talk about the Bank for International Settlements and how that works and how that violates the law, or you go to FEMA meetings and you confront the regional director of FEMA and criminals involved in the power electricity extortion racket that are destroying the planet and stealing all your money. Or when you've been to hundreds of government meetings and you confront folks like special agents in charge of the FBI for their fraud in carrying out the 9/11 attacks and their complicity, while you're not only being filmed, but also carrying a gun. So, Adam Green, look, I don't know what to say about this guy or Handsome Truth or Jon Minadeo or whatever the guy's name is, or Jake Morhonios, except for you guys are a joke. You don't do anything except for talk in the media. You don't do anything. You don't provide any solutions. Nobody knows who you are, and nobody cares except for, I know who you are. I know you would never walk up to me face to face. I know that there are 6 hours of Adam Green and myself, me calling him out as a government agent and exposing exactly why I believe that. There's 6 hours of it. You can find it on Militia Intelligence Report number 2. You can find it on No More News Exposed 2. You can find it on Blazga_USA on LiveLeak. You can find it on Documentary Vids on LiveLeak. You can find it on Daily Motion. You can find it at We Are Shameless on YouTube. You can find it at Militia Intelligence Report number 2 on YouTube. So why is it that these guys wish to remove all vestiges of the full 6 hours of me exposing how this guy Adam Green is a government agent, works for the government? And here is the slam dunk proof. Here's the slam dunk proof. With everything laid out there, that nobody knows who this guy is, except for other government agents and those who are calling for capital punishment for government officials. And the only reason I'm calling for capital punishment for government officials is because I comprehend what war against the people looks like. I comprehend what the Constitution says in regard to the actions that government is taking against the people, including government agents like Adam Green. So here's the thing. According to all public record, Adam Green started No More News, which is one channel. Hey, shout out to Eddie. I'm sorry I didn't, and that's Wardo Rants. I just want to let everybody know he called me today, and he wanted me to let everybody know that he's off. His channel's been removed from YouTube again. Let me just say this. Eddie, Wardo Rants replaced me on Renegade Broadcasting after we left that federal government operation exposing Kyle Hunt and the person who calls themselves, I should say, I don't want to say her or anything like that, the person who calls themselves Sinead McCarthy. They're really bad, high up, degenerate government agents. They come from millionaire families, just like Jake Morhonios, just like Adam Green, just like Handsome Truth, aka what's the guy's name? Is this right, guys? Can some folks out there, can they verify, is Handsome Truth actor Jon Minadeo, spelled Minadeo? I'm seeing reports that this guy named Handsome Truth is actually Jon Minadeo. Okay, so Scott Richmond is here. You don't like No More News, question mark. I just saw the N yesterday for the first time. The N, I don't know what that is. I'll have to see, because I just saw No More News a day or two and actually like it. Well, you probably would. I mean, Scott, you're the one that we had on that was claiming that the Constitution and Declaration of Independence was put together all by Freemasons, and we went through each one by one, and you started making all these other claims that you had no evidence for, and we went through and we proved you wrong on every point. So absolutely, I am not surprised you like No More News. But here's the thing. Here's the smoking gun, the slam dunk, the end of story when addressing Adam Green and No More News. Adam Green worked for this guy named Mark Dankberg, who is a billionaire Jew who sits at the top of the military-industrial complex and is the founder of a corporation called VIASAT, which works with Lockheed Martin and Boeing and the United States military, has a data center in Tel Aviv, Israel. Okay, so Adam Green started No More News in 2014. Okay, let me repeat myself. Adam Green started No More News in 2014. He was working for Mark Dankberg, the Jew, at his job at VIASAT, V-I-A-S-A-T. Adam Green was working for VIASAT until April, according to his LinkedIn page, and I've seen him admit that he was working at VIASAT in 2015. So when he started No More News, and for I don't know how much of the year, I don't know exactly what month in 2014, Adam Green started No More News, but he was working for Mark Dankberg, the Jew, at one of the top positions in the military-industrial complex when he started No More News. And then was doing so for a year? A year. We'll say a year. Maybe it was 6 months. Maybe it was 8 months. Maybe it was 10 months. But he was certainly working for Mark Dankberg when he started No More News. So then let's go and look at what is on that page after, he starts it. Bunch of nonsense. Alex Jones stuff. So, okay, that's 2015. What's Adam Green doing in 2016? He's dressing up like a woman. He's dressing up like a woman twice, at least, 2 times. It doesn't matter how many folks watch this. It's done. It's done. You're done, Adam Green. You're done. What are you doing in 2016? Dressing up like a woman, promoting who? Alex Jones. Okay, Alex Jones. Who else? Donald Trump, promoting voting for Donald Trump in 2016. Now, I know what I was doing in 2016. I know what I was doing in 2015 and 2014 and 2000. I know what I was doing to oppose this government since before September 11th, 2001. I know all the hundreds of demonstrations I've organized. I know all the government meetings that I've been to, speaking on behalf of rational thought on countless numbers of different subjects. I know how many times I've appeared as an expert on television, not just on geopolitical matters, not just on constitutional law matters, not just on economic matters, but on every subject that anyone wishes to speak to me about. And I am confident that when I'm speaking to guys that are well above the pay grade of Adam Green in this criminal government or in the field of the media, that I can dominate them and do, because all this stuff is very simple. Adam Green worked for VIASAT when he was starting No More News, after he started No More News, after he was already started this YouTube channel that folks, and I don't think it's many real people, But these government agent honeypots creating fake accounts, bot accounts, just regular NSA officials, regular Google agents, regular agents 8200, all of them. Adam Green worked for Mark Dankberg when he started No More News. After he left VIASAT, according to what he's saying, who does he then go start pimping on his government-created channel? Alex Jones, Donald Trump, and the Koch brothers. Then, in 2017, so that's what were you doing in 2017? I mean, that seems like yesterday. We've been calling out Israel and 9/11 since 2007. We've been calling out 9/11 since 2003. When I say we, myself, and everybody else associated with me, we have been calling this out.
Chris,
yes.
Real quick.
Go ahead, David.
I
Go.
don't know if you know about this. Yeah. While I was sharing your video, I was on YouTube, and the video's only 4 hours old. But Adam Green.
David, I saw that already. That's what I'm talking about. David. Yeah, I saw that already. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I've been sharing the show. I haven't been paying attention, so my.
Okay. Oh no, that's all right. I mean you see that's what we were. Hey, and I'm glad David brought this up so we can bring it around full circle again. If anyone is going to oppose the idea of abolishing this criminal government, then they are complete government agents. If someone is advocating voting, which Pat Little, Adam Green, all these shills are doing, when somebody is like a year into this concept and comes forward and starts saying like, oh yeah, here's the only solution, which is, look, the only solution to any government problem, we're not going to get rid of guns. If everybody else on the planet got rid of their gun and all government officials got rid of their gun, that will be the point when I say, okay, maybe I'll think about getting rid of mine. We're not going to get rid of guns. The government is not going to be voted into not waging war against the people anymore. You're not going to vote out U.N.Agenda 21. You're not going to vote out the Federal Reserve Bank. You're not going to vote out the Bank for International Settlements. You're not going to vote out the G20. You're not going to vote this stuff out. Okay? Number two, it's criminal. Everybody can see it. The government is criminal. The elections are a fraud. You're a debt slave. Everybody hates their job. The government is spraying poison on us. The water that we drink is poisoned by corporate pollution and intentional putting of other pollutants like what do you call it? Industrial waste into the water supply. They are poisoning our food. Everything is genetically modified. They're putting Roundup Ready seeds into the ground. I mean, they're starting forest fires intentionally, and then putting the victims in situations where they're being exposed to biological warfare like norovirus. They're shutting down the border in and out of the country so folks with legitimate reasons for going back and forth between the United States and Mexico border have to go through a DHS military checkpoint Charlie-esque checkpoint. I'm not even going to apologize. You get what I'm saying. So if somebody is going to attack us for saying, oh, these guys want to abolish the government. Oh, these guys think that having guns is a good thing. These guys think that because I work for a military-industrial complex corporation and became very rich getting paid by a Jew, that I'm somehow some sort of government agent. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, are you guys kidding me? There's nothing else to say. I don't care what a bunch of individuals say. I don't care what anybody says about me. You see, the bottom line is, I would love to have another conversation with Adam Green. I would love to appear in a broadcast with Adam Green. I challenge him constantly. I put the video that I made, which is about Adam Green being a Mossad, VIASAT, and an NSA agent on a comment in Adam Green's one of Adam Green's videos. He erased it. You see, I don't have the time to go through and erase all of the comments. I don't care what folks' comments are. And I'm very glad to see that, except for, certain folks. I mean, certain folks, I like it. I'll look at it and I'll listen to it. But who has ever proved me wrong? I mean, I'm proven wrong, like, all the time, like, around my house. My dog proves me wrong. Amanda proves me wrong. I'm wrong. Oh, hey, did you turn on the porch light? Yeah, I think I did. No, I didn't. I'm wrong. But when I get on the air and I start broadcasting things, I'm not wrong. I don't fear facing up to anyone. I don't, if I'm incorrect, I'll say, hey, look, man, I'm incorrect. I got no problem with that. But I'm not incorrect about any of the 6 hours that I interrogated the government agent, Adam Green. I'm not wrong about that. You can go back and look at it. And what he uses to attack me and also Clifford Eberhardt. So I don't know if Clifford is on the show, but we would love to have Clifford call in, because he goes after Clifford for using gematria, and then somehow tries to say, is it me? Is it me and Clifford? What, who's he saying? Oh, and then he says, oh, he has a small following. I don't have any following. It's not about following anyone. It's about what the facts are. I mean, it's just like, do you think Michael Jordan sits around, and we'll talk Adam Green's stuff, because he was certainly a fine Division II college basketball player. Do you think, like, for instance, let's use a modern type of basketball star. Do you think LeBron James, if he showed up and was going to play in a pickup game against Adam Green, do you think he would worry about telling the public how much better he is than Adam Green? It just speaks for itself. So when folks are afraid to have any sort of confrontation, when they're afraid to debate, when they have actually debated and been handed their head back on a platter, so to speak, because I dominated him. He made no sense. He cried like a baby the whole time. Oh, this, you say this, and what if this is what he said. What if I do interview only government agents? That's my business. I said, yeah, that is your business. That's what you do. That was said. He said that. That's where I got Adam Green admits he's a government agent. What if I do interview government agents? That's what I can do. I'm not trying to stop you from doing what you're doing, Adam. I'm just pointing out that you're guilty of treason. Jake Morhonios, we got to talk about this guy, because George H.W. Bush just died earlier this week, according to reports. And Jake Morhonios gets on the idiot box. And I thought, everything's a television screen. So Jake Morhonios is on the idiot box telling us how he got his start in politics working for who? George H.W. Bush. I mean, hey, that's fine. He doesn't say, oh, George Bush was a really bad guy. He was guilty of treason. He was a 9/11 co-conspirator. He murdered 500,000 Iraqi men, women, and children over a lie, over lies that they had before the first Gulf War. He doesn't say any of that. He says, oh, I know him, and my grandmother was a judge, and my whole family's criminal. My whole family's criminal. But believe me, because I'm going to call myself Blackstone Intelligence and start regurgitating nonsense that we were talking about 3 years ago when these guys were promoting Donald Trump and Alex Jones. So when we were exposing Michael Cohen, Donald Trump and the Jewish Mafia, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell back in 2014 and 2015 and 2016, these guys were pimping out for Republicans like Donald Trump, the Jeffrey Epstein associate, and Alex Jones, the complete just actor, figure. These guys are actors. They're actors. You see, when Adam Green's cousin, Peyton Manning, goes on Saturday Night Live, Adam Green is emulating him when Adam Green goes on camera dressed like a woman and simulates performing fellatio on a man. So I didn't do that. I didn't go on camera dressed like a woman simulating fellatio on a man while doing what? Pimping out for Alex Jones? And pimping out for Donald Trump? Isn't that real funny? Hey, I remember we used to talk a lot about Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani like making out while Rudy Giuliani was dressed like a woman. Now, I was told, this is a joke, Chris. Come on. This is satire. This is a joke. Okay, I don't care how funny the joke is. I'm not going to be sexual with a male or dress up like a woman. I'm not going to simulate fellatio wearing women's clothes and wearing a wig like Adam Green of VIASAT, the NSA agent and the Mossad agent. VIASAT. Look up Tel Aviv, Israel and VIASAT. Look up Mark Dankberg and VIASAT. You'll see. Now, only in this twisted society, and the thing is, I don't care. I don't care that Adam Green... Okay, here's the thing. I stand behind everything that I say in a video that is titled, is this guy crazy or is he an agent? Leave your opinion in the comment section. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but that's the video that this guy Adam Green made. There's 6 hours of Adam Green and I debating. Why did he take that down off his channel? I mean, here's the other thing. If you're being manipulated into thinking that calling for the abolition of the government is crazy, then there is absolutely no hope for anyone. I want to talk about continuity of operations and continuity of government. You see, there are underground bases all over the United States. They're operational. They're not just for an emergency. There are FEMA camps popping up all over the place. Norovirus being spread in the FEMA camps in California, around Chico and Paradise, around the so-called campfire. Adam Green doesn't call out, or Jake Morhonios or Handsome Truth. They don't talk about these fake synagogue shootings. They say, oh, this guy might have an excuse for doing it. You see, this guy's not wrong. Like they're playing like it's real. You see, this is all I have to say. I challenge you anytime, any place. And I call you a coward and a liar, Adam Green. You can call me crazy all you want. Define crazy. That guy's crazy. Oh, he's crazy. I love him. He's crazy. Oh, well, that guy's crazy. Define that. Define it, buddy. I'll define a coward and a liar for you. And if I'm crazy, then that means that I am right about everything that I'm talking about, and I'm crazy for some other reason. Because there's nothing crazy about what we're talking about when we address the public. The law of the land requires abolition of the government in case of them carrying out war against the people. Hey, David, I don't know how many times we have to do this, but let's try to share Virginia Declaration of Rights. And I'm gonna pull this up again. David, how many times do you think I have talked about Virginia Declaration of Rights as the basis of all law in the United States? How many times has anybody come close to refuting the fact that the King James Version of the Bible and the Virginia Declaration of Rights is the basis of all law in the United States of America? I mean, how many times? Like hundreds of times? Every show? Every show. Okay. Every show. Okay. And so we've done, and I've made, I don't know, probably between 3,000 and 4,000 videos, going back to Richmond Peace, and then Virginia Virginia Militia Intelligence, then Militia Intelligence Report number 1, Militia Intelligence Report number 2 on YouTube. The live leak channels we just mentioned before. If you didn't hear them, go back. There's also additional channels that we've had. So between 3,000 and 4,000 videos, interviews with Press TV, Al-Alam TV, I would say different news outlets, NPR, going back to 2004. Let's see, Chicago Tribune, USA Today, Washington Post, Richmond Times-Dispatch. We've been on all these different places. You know, sometimes it's for leaks at nuclear reactors like North Anna, calling for them to shut down a reactor that was damaged by an earthquake or something that's located on an earthquake fault line. That's where there's lots of nuclear reactors located on active fault lines. So when we talk about, so we've been out there on important issues at FEMA meetings, confronting, high-ranking FEMA officials, confronting high-ranking officials for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, going to Nuclear Regulatory Commission meetings, confronting the past 5 governors of Virginia. I haven't gotten this Northam guy. I don't know this guy from anything, but going back to Tim Kaine, Bob McDonnell, what was the last guy? Terry McAuliffe, confronting DHS Secret Service agents. We've done all this, confronting election officials with proof that the elections are a fraud. Do you need me to prove that to you anymore? I did many years ago, filing federal lawsuits. You see, Adam Green hasn't done any of this stuff. Jake Morhonios hasn't done any of this stuff. I was a member of the Richmond Democratic Committee, and I used to call for the arrest of these guys right to their faces. Because they're criminals. You have to be a moron not to see this. So, I don't know about wasting too much more time talking about Adam Green, but I will say this. Folks like that, their opinion means nothing. They're already exposed. So, the thing that you can take from this is, hey, these guys are exposed 8 ways to Sunday. They don't do anything. And all these so-called resistance movements are certainly controlled by the government. Okay? And, you know, why would anybody trust these guys? Would you say, okay, all right, so you started this channel in 2014, and you were working for a military contractor that is based in Carlsbad, California, and in Tel Aviv, Israel, and your boss is Jewish. Okay, and then you kept going with this channel and working at this Jewish military-industrial complex place until April of 2015? Okay, and then you went on and somehow started pimping out and doing videos for InfoWars, and including videos where you dress like a woman and promoted Donald Trump. And I'm talking about Adam Green in this. I'm not talking about anybody else. So I'm just talking about Adam Green. So then in 2016, okay, yeah, election, you're pimping for Donald Trump. Then in 2017, you get Israeli Mossad agent Christopher Bolin, who has bank accounts in Estonia, has a bank account in Sweden, and a bank account in Washington, D.C., even though he's from, like, Chicago, and he has enough money to travel around the country. You see, here's the thing. Like, you know, my YouTube channels, my Richmond Peace YouTube channel, and I've had multiple different YouTube channels taken down since then. My numbers dwarfed Adam Green's back in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. Nobody's watching Adam Green. Then Christopher Bolin comes on the scene. See, Christopher Bolin was married to a Israeli military intelligence officer in the Mossad. So Christopher Bolin was married to a Mossad agent, and he met her while he was living on a kibbutz in Israel, just like Bernie Sanders lived on a kibbutz. Christopher Bolin lived on a kibbutz. Okay, so he starts stealing everybody's information about the Israeli involvement in September 11th. And now he jet sets around the world, Christopher Bolin. Nobody buys those books. He wouldn't be able to pay for a quarter of his expenses off of the books. And Adam Green wouldn't be able to cover 1/10 of his expenses with with subscribers making donations to him. That's how they launder money. They'll have folks, government agents, donate money to them, and that's how they launder the money. But make no mistake, Adam Green is a government agent, and if you dispute that, then the only question is, when did Adam Green start not being a government agent? David, can you get in on this one so I'm not just like talking to myself? Okay, Adam Green worked for VIASAT until April of 2015, right? Okay, so we got that number locked down, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So in 2014, and folks, hey, they can look it up right now. Adam Green is working on and creating his YouTube channel, his current YouTube channel. Correct? That's nobody's disputing that. Okay? David, you know enough about VIASAT to say, well, that seems kind of like a suspicious place for somebody getting into this field of information to work. Don't you think? You're familiar with VIASAT, correct? And if you're not, VIASAT, let's see if somebody can do a Google search for VIASAT and put the Wikipedia page up and show exactly what VIASAT is. I'm kind of frozen on my computer, but let's get that up there so we can establish stuff, so it's not just one of these things like, oh, I don't like the way this guy looks, so is he crazy or is he a government agent? I'm saying Adam Green worked for VIASAT. VIASAT is a military-industrial complex corporation that is into the highest level of sinister stuff on the planet.
Yeah, VIASAT Incorporated is what the Wikipedia page has it. And yeah, it is a...
well, read it, David. Read it.
Communications... Yeah, okay. Again, VIASAT Incorporated is a communications company based in Carlsbad, California. I hope I said that right.
That's right.
With additional operators... Yeah, with additional operations across the United States and worldwide. So yeah, basically, yeah. So coincidentally, that's where Adam Green is from, and in the middle of IT government industrial complex.
Right.
That is a provider of high-speed satellite broadband services and secure networking systems covering military and commercial markets. So apparently, VIASAT has only been around since 1986, but it is, in fact, a byproduct of DARPA.
Yes.
DARPA being established, the same year as NASA. So, you can see that people have exposed Adam Green.
Well, interestingly enough...
military intelligence. Go ahead.
Yeah, interestingly enough, VIASAT does a lot of work with NASA. They do a lot of work with the NSA. They do work with Lockheed Martin, and as I said before, they have a data center in Tel Aviv, Israel. And David, can you find the part about where it talks about Lockheed Martin and VIASAT down there on that Wikipedia page?
Yes. Right now, I'm trying to share it.
Okay. Yeah. Share it first. David's going to get to the connection between VIASAT and Lockheed Martin. And again, I'll just repeat myself. I do not care what anybody said, any lies or any misconceptions that folks have to say about me. I don't care. You see, we're saying this guy's a government agent. I mean, we could go off on a tangent about this guy dressing like a woman and pretending to perform fellatio on a man. I mean, you can say, is that crazy? I think it is kind of crazy. I mean, I think that yeah, there's something wrong with folks who do that. I mean, there's something wrong with every person. Every person is wounded and damaged. I get it. I can speak the language. But yeah, there's something psychologically wrong with Adam Green, who dresses up like a woman and pretends to perform fellatio on a man and thinks that that's a funny joke. And it really seems odd that he's pimping for Alex Jones while doing that, and pimping for Donald Trump with their weird transgender sex predilections. But yeah, let's get back to VIASAT, which was the employer, which was Adam Green was employed by when he started No More News. So VIASAT paid for Adam Green to start No More News. Let's hear about VIASAT, VIASAT, and Lockheed Martin. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Well, on Wikipedia, it only mentions Lockheed Martin once. It actually says, let's see. In 2001, VIASAT started working with Boeing, the broadband services for airlines. The company acquired Lockheed Martin Global Telecommunications Product Unit.
Okay.
From
Okay.
Mossad Laboratories.
Okay. Read that again, David, because that's a little more important than it only mentions it once. Because read the words and think about the words. I'm just
Yeah, it says
trying to impart.
The company acquired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the company acquired Lockheed Martin Global Telecommunications Product Unit from the Mossad Laboratories in 2001 for an undisclosed amount. I guess amount of currency.
Undisclosed amount of currency. Okay. So yeah. Hey. So let's end it there. There's other places you can go. Evidently, this guy Jon Minadeo, Handsome Truth, is a millionaire actor. I think it appears that Adam Green is somebody who's very wealthy, a possible millionaire. Jake Morhonios is, I mean, anybody who follows this guy is just like, we don't want you. We don't want to have anything to do with you. And I don't care about what anybody says about me on the internet. It's not true. And what are they saying? They're making totally what they're doing to me personally. And I guess Clifford, I don't know, they didn't mention his name, but I guess they just added him in. Is this guy, even though they talk about what two different people are doing, me and Clifford. But in any event, just making judgment calls on things that you think and providing no evidence proving that means nothing. You don't like the way I look? I don't care. Yeah, I am not the I'm not the handsomest boy. I'm not the most handsome man. I'm sorry. I'm not the most handsome man. I'm sorry that you don't like how my hair looks. I'm sorry you don't like the secondhand clothes I wear, because I have completely rejected society. Man, when I owned a business, I didn't. When I owned multiple businesses, I didn't wear secondhand clothes. I didn't wear clothes that were 25 years old. I didn't really worry about money. I know how to make money. I believe I probably know how to make money better than you do, Adam Green. But you see, I have repudiated all usury. I don't get involved with it anymore. So, say you don't like the way I look. I don't care. That's basically what folks are saying. Say that you think that I'm on drugs. Man, I know for 100% true, I've never done cocaine. I've never eaten acid. I know a lot of the guys that they're saying, bad things about me, they're totally cracked out. Jan Irvin, I mean, I seriously doubt that Adam Green is not involved in doing coke at his rich guy parties. I don't touch that stuff. I touch what this book says is meat for me to consume. I consume manna. I mean, but man, I don't. You can say that you think I'm on cocaine. Never done cocaine. You can say that you think I'm on meth. I've never seen meth. Never been around it. Wouldn't know what it looked like if you brought it to me. Wouldn't take it. Wouldn't take it if somebody had a gun pointed to my head. Which wouldn't happen because I always have a freaking gun. So, you can make up whatever kind of lies about me that you like, but I did not work for VIASAT. I did not work for the NSA. I've never done anything compliant with the levels of government that Adam Green was getting paid buttloads of money for. I mean, you see, this is the thing. Abolishing government is the only solution. There is no other solution but the abolition of the government. So let's start getting into what needs to be done. And David, while I'm looking up, my computer's frozen up again. While I'm looking up Virginia Declaration of Rights again, let's recap some of the top news stories. Let's get into the Jewish Mafia. We exposed that. There was news this week that there was a plea deal reached in the Jeffrey Epstein case. I don't feel like going through Jeffrey Epstein again because we do this like we do with the Virginia Declaration of Rights. We do this every week, but we've been exposing Jeffrey Epstein before anybody else. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. So this guy, Alexander Acosta, he is Secretary of the Labor, U.S. Secretary of Labor, and he's the guy that gave the sweetheart plea deal to Jeffrey Epstein when he was operating his child prostitution network out of, among other places, the Mar-a-Lago resort owned by Donald Trump. So we exposed that, I don't know, 3 years ago at this point. It's close to 3 years ago at this point when we started exposing Trump, Jeff Epstein, and Alexander Acosta, the Secretary of Labor. So there's people calling for the resignation of Alexander Acosta. There's a lot of Brexit stuff going on. We kind of connect the dots between Brexit and the so-called royal family, and we're gonna get out of there. Like, they delayed the Brexit vote, Theresa May's Brexit vote. It was supposed to take place on December 11th. It's not going to take place on December 11th, and that's because it's going to get defeated, out of hand. And we said this back in 2015, the summer of 2015, when the Brexit vote took place. Let me make sure that I'm saying that correctly. Let's see, Brexit. 2015. Is this right? It's either 2015 or 2000. Let's see. It looks like it was. If anybody out there can get this when it was, I think it was in the summer of 2015. I don't think it was in the summer of 2016. Let's see. Oh, okay, no, it was 2016. It follows the referendum of 23rd June 2016, when 52% of those who voted supported withdrawal. Okay, so we said that back then. Hey guys, this is a distraction. The European Union, they'll still be a part of the European Union. That's the UK, will still be a part of the European Union. Nothing will change. And also, it was 2016 then, and before anything is going to happen, it's going to be 2019. So they vote on it, and then nothing takes place, and then 3 years later, 2.5 years later, they say, oh, we're going to vote again. Or this is a no-deal Brexit. Or this is a soft Brexit. Or a hard Brexit. It doesn't mean anything. All of the governments of the world are controlled by the United Nations. All the governments of the world are controlled by the central bank. And the central bank of the United Kingdom, the Bank of England, RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, Federal Reserve Bank, the Bank of Russia, the Bank of Israel, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of China, all of them are controlled by one institution that's called the Bank for International Settlements. So we go through this all the time. I don't know what else folks have to say. Not very many people chirpy tonight, David. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. Maybe they ran out of things to discuss.
I mean, yeah, maybe they did. I mean, because Scott Richmond started out, and we'd already dealt with that guy. You know, already started in with this, you know, nonsense. We don't have any of Charlemagne's relatives on the line. We don't. I don't know. It's a real conundrum. You know, hey, David, did you put up that VIASAT thing?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'm gonna try to find that. So, you see, there's no disputing this. This is not up for debate. It's not some sort of clique. We don't have any sort of catchphrases. Maybe I should start coming up with catchphrases at the beginning, like these actors do. You know, what's up, homeboy? I mean, give me a break. These guys are fools. I mean, they work for the government. They are working directly for the government. And what I'm telling you is there's no disputing this. There's absolutely no disputing the fact that these guys cover up for the government. They tell you to vote. They tell you to donate money to political candidates. They tell you to support political candidates. They live in $1 million houses, man. Are you kidding? How do you think things work? How do you guys think things work? Is anybody falling for this? That's what I really want to know. Is anybody falling for this? I don't know if anybody legitimate is falling for this. Everybody uses fake ass names. And just you know, they say one thing on the internet and I know they mean another. So there's one solution to all of this, and that's the abolition of the government. The government is engaged in war against the people. Let's talk about this CNN bomb hoax last night. So I'm flipping around the TV, and I see Don Lemon and Shimon, I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name, Perez or something, I don't know. He's some Mossad agent that's always around CNN. His first name is Shimon. All you have to do is see who was on the broadcast while Don Lemon was broadcasting outside of the Time Warner building in Manhattan after an alleged bomb threat had been called in. They shut down Columbus Circle, and they had to evacuate the Time Warner building, which is where the CNN New York offices are located. That's where Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon, that's where they broadcast from. So, evidently, somebody had called in a bomb threat around 9:45 Eastern Time, and I got to the story at about 11:30, and of course, was like, oh, this is a hoax, and made a video, put it up there on the live leak and on the YouTube, and basically, it you know, some people watch it, some people comment, they say, yeah, it seems like a hoax, and then by the time it's up for 10 minutes, they say, oh, all clear. They knew it was all clear from the beginning. So why shut down the street? Why? I mean, how can you guys not see that this is all fake? It's all fake, and that the only solution is abolishing the government, is arresting these individuals, and that what they're going to do to all of us is once the information is out there, once the cat is out of the bag, they're going to say, oh, okay, well, the cat's out of the bag, and here's how you solve it. This guy, Pat Little, he stands on an Israeli flag. He's running for the Republican nomination for Senate. So just support this guy because he stands on a flag and he stands on a street corner and does stuff that we, in a worse way that we've been doing for the past 15 or 20 years, and that it's totally staged. Again, Patrick Little, let's meet face to face, buddy. Adam Green, let's meet face to face. Ryan Dawson, let's meet face to face. I'm not going to do any bodily damage to you. I'm just going to make you shake in your knees. I'm just going to look at you in the eye, call you out for the treasonous government agent that you are, and make sure I get it on camera. That's it. Just like I've done to each and every one of you, except for Pat Little. That guy, what a dirtbag that guy is. What a degenerate scumbag that guy is. So, that's all anybody can do. I mean, you can talk about how ugly I am. I don't care. That's fine. I'll disagree with you less about the fact that I may be an ugly person, not good looking, but I won't let you lie and say or insinuate, because you don't even say it as a fact, that everything that I'm saying about how the government functions is not 100% correct, because it is 100% correct. The government is unlawful. It exists in violation of the law. The law of the land in the United States is the Constitution for the United States of America. It is based on Virginia Declaration of Rights, which is based on the writings of John Locke in the book Two Treatises on Government. All law in the United States is based on Virginia Declaration of Rights, which is based on Second Treatise on Government by John Locke. This is all very simple. Second Treatise on Government is based in the King James Bible, which is the law book. And here's what the law says. Here's what the law says. We're talking about abolishing the government. And I'll tell you what, we're going to get into a lot of really interesting subjects here. We're going to talk about the Bible. We're going to talk about vegetarianism. We're going to talk about cannabis being mandated and consumed for those who are God's people in the Bible. We're going to talk about manna, which is psilocybin mushrooms. And we're going to talk about warfare in the Bible and about how we are instructed to not bring peace but a sword by our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And we're going to talk a lot about the lost tribes of Israel, and we're going to talk about how the Egyptian pharaonic line, aka the tribes of Israel, or the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Dan, the tribe of Levi, they went up through the Iberian Peninsula. They settled and propagated in Spain and Portugal, then moved up to Ireland, then Scotland. We're going to talk about the Scottish Declaration of Independence. So you guys can look that up. Look up the Scottish Declaration of Independence. But first, we're going to, first things first, talk about Virginia Declaration of Rights. And when I'm talking about Scottish Declaration of Independence and the King James Bible, King James the first of England, King James sixth of Scotland, we're talking about our forefathers, our ancestors, and they're not Jews, and they're not billionaires, and they don't work for the military-industrial complex. But they were warriors, and they did smite their enemies very vehemently. Let's see. This is Virginia Declaration of Rights, Article 1, Section 3. That government is or ought to be instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people and nation or community of all the various modes and forms of government that is best, which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, and is most effectually secured against the danger of maladministration. And that when any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the community hath an indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public weal. Because government is a creation of the people, in order to protect our God-given rights, our ancestors wrote explicitly on the duty of the people to abolish any government which does not serve our interests. Now, the government serves Adam Green's interests. It's made him wealthy. He's rich. His family is rich. All of his family are millionaires. Very wealthy. Jake Morhonios, the same. The actor, Handsome Truth, same. Same with him. It serves their interest. Does it serve your interest? I'm asking the people, does this government serve your interest? Do you believe this government is engaged in war against you? You either agree or you're stupid. But hey, let me talk to some stupid people out there. Let me talk to some stupid persons out there. The institutions which currently control the government are engaged in war against the people. And whatever tactic which is used by government against the people can be used by the people against the government. Okay. Is anybody lost on this? I see people watching. I know that there are folks watching. Hey David, have you shared that to all the pages on my primary Facebook account?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So that is very interesting because I am wondering what's going on with our algorithm. But in any event, we don't have a bunch of chirpy guys in there. We don't have anything going, but so anybody out there, let's. Okay, so we just lost the call on Blog Talk Radio. David, we are off Blog Talk Radio, so I got to call back.
Welcome to radio. Please enter your host pin. When finished, press the pound key.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I did
Let's
not
see.
press at least 4 digits of your pin number.
All right, we're having issues with the technical aspect of this. We'll hopefully get back on Blog Talk Radio here in a minute. I've got to log in on another device on Blog Talk Radio, and we will hopefully get this in just a second. All right, so we're logging in, and I hear in the background Chris Cuomo, and they're talking about the meeting between Donald Trump, Natalia Veselnitskaya, Rob Goldstone, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump Jr. This is the so-called Trump Tower meeting, and it is 2018. It is December. What is today? December 7th, 2016. Happy belated St. Nicholas Day. Folks, if you want to, I don't want to pimp anything out, but they only make this once a year. If anybody likes beer out there, do yourself a favor and get Sammy Klaus. They brew it once a year on December the 6th, and it's an ale. It's not a beer. But it's the best ale that you can find on the planet. It's called Sammy Klaus. It is an Austrian beer, and check it out if you like beer. One will be enough. It's 13% alcohol. It's either I think it's 11.2 ounces. But in any event, Sammy Klaus is a beer that's it's an ale that is good to drink. So we're gonna try to get back on Blog Talk Radio, and I don't have talk radio. You can see what I'm doing on Facebook Live, so you can know my screen is frozen, so I have to look up the host the host number to log in, the login number for the host. So since my computer screen is frozen and my tablet is being used to broadcast Facebook Live, I'm having to log into Blog Talk Radio on this iPad, which is really slow, to retrieve the login number. Okay, and I think that should do it. I'm hoping this shall do it, and then I'll be able to get back on Blog Talk Radio. I don't know why we lost the Blog Talk feed, but we're gonna get back on there momentarily. Okay. So, yeah, we're waiting for this thing to load up. IPAs. Oh, that's what people want to start talking about. Yeah, I like IPAs too. But here's the thing. Oh, it looks like we have another caller on the line. That's really interesting that we have a caller while I'm not there. And we're going to try to get back on the line here.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your...
Okay.
Start your show now. Press 1. To hear important instructions, press 2.
Since it appears you're calling back...
All right, we're back on the line here. Man, what a nightmare this always is. What a freaking nightmare. David, we're back on. Looks like we got a caller. Is that correct? David? Okay. David, what happened there? I mean, okay, so here, were you watching me on Facebook? If I disappear from one, I might be on the other. A couple weeks ago, we lost Facebook connection and Blog Talk connection at the same time. But as I was saying, it looked like we had a caller there, a 720 phone number. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. I don't know if they're still on.
That doesn't appear like they're still on. What happened?
I don't know. Maybe they dropped because we were on for so long. I couldn't. I don't think anybody could have heard me without the host connected.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, here's what happened on my end. Okay, we got to. Oh, yeah. We're gonna ignore that. We know who that is on the line. So we're going to X that out. That's that Jew Brian Grossman is calling right now. So here we got the 720. 720 number is calling back. So we'll see if we can add this guy to the call and see what's going on. We know that something's up because we just saw Brian Grossman call in. He is a Jewish agent, flat Earth Jewish agent. We got 720 on the line. 720, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Jake Morhonios calling. I talked to you guys a couple weeks ago.
Oh, hey, greetings.
I'm actually calling from Asia. I just got a little bit to add. And one thing I thought that was really interesting was I think yesterday or the day before, going back to this Vegas shooting, is that I saw a report that had information about 3 women being with the shooter. What was his name? And in the hotel room, there was 3 women with him, and so kind of a honeypot situation. And one of the names was Laura. And I thought, wouldn't it be perfect? This Laura Loomer was the one that led the story.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think is there any evidence for that? The guy's name was, I mean, is there any evidence that?
I don't think so. I'm just throwing this out there. Like one person just mentioned it, and I thought this: when you have this type of situation that's so ubiquitous now, I think Chris, that the more you say, the more right you are. There's so much deception out there. I just wanted to drop that. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I always like to talk about the Las Vegas shooting, and you know, that guy worked for Lockheed Martin as well. We'll see if we can pull up the information about the Las Vegas shooter and Lockheed Martin. So since we were talking about Lockheed Martin earlier,
What do you think the chances are that it actually be the person that leads the story was the one that actually set it up?
what do you mean? I mean, I definitely think that's the case. Yeah, but like specifically.
Isn't that everything? Yeah, I would say just about everything that we see now on TV is created.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what
I think sometimes. Let's be specific, because I see stuff on the news and I believe it really happens. So hey, we got Chris Lane watching, and this, I'll give an example. I was watching the news the other night, and there was a fire on Jefferson Davis Highway, or off of Jefferson Davis Highway in Chesterfield County, near the Richmond-Chesterfield County line, and I believe it was Chris Lane who was filming it for the news. I mean, he doesn't work for the news, but I think he was on the scene, and I think he filmed the fire. So I think that's a real fire. Now, was that arson? I don't know. I don't know anything about this fire. I think I think things actually happen in the news. I think that there are robberies. I think folks rob banks. I know folks rob banks. I know people persons rob convenience stores. So I don't want folks getting confused and saying like, oh, okay, we're back. Yeah. So I got a request. I think I got a request for somebody to come on the show here. We'll see. And now we lost. Now we lost Facebook Live. I mean the blog talk feed. We're on we lost the blog talk feed now, and so this guy Brian Grossman, he keeps you see, this guy, I don't know what else to say. I made it about him, and within the first, I don't know, couple hours, within the first couple hours, it got like 1,200 views on a couple different channels, but they were taken down, and one channel, _USA, allegedly that's the last video that was up there, and they were, you know, everybody was, you know, the channel was locked after that. So Stephen Paddock worked for Lockheed Martin, like we were saying, and we're gonna try to get back connected to Blog Talk Radio
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
broadcast.
Your host pin when finished. Press.
All right.
To start your show now, press 1.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Chemical warfare and their way of covering it up.
Yeah, we're back on now, David. I'm sorry for this recurring technical difficulty, folks, but yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were y'all talking about?
He brought up that real organic things may happen, but a lot of times they can be perfected and what you would call put there on purpose. Like the best example I can give is riots. People show up, but how did you get those people to show up? And what are the cops actually doing? They're actually leading them around instead of trying to stop it.
Right.
I mean, doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, that's what happens. We verified that happened. Hey, here's October 2, 2017. Who is Stephen Paddock? ? Las Vegas gunman, had lived in Central Florida, worked for Lockheed Martin. That's Orlando Sentinel. Las Vegas shooter, worked for predecessor of Lockheed Martin. That's October 2, 2017. Fox Business. Yahoo Finances. Las Vegas shooter, worked for predecessor of Lockheed Martin. Blah, blah, blah. Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock had government jobs. Bought 33 weapons last year. So this guy worked for the IRS as well. Yeah, it's a real issue. It's a real problem. Kmart connection. I don't know what the Kmart connection is, Scott Richmond. Do you mean Walmart? If you got a Kmart connection, let me know what it is. But I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is a real issue and a real problem. And I would love to have Chris Lane on the show because one thing that we put forward beyond anything else is that the police are the worst human beings on the planet. And there's just absolutely no doubt about that. Okay, so Scott Richmond says, heard something about Sheriff Israel connected to him or something to, but who knows? Okay. So, I mean, when we see anybody, and I really got upset when I saw Chris Lane promoting the Richmond Police Department, and I can't say anything worse about a human being other than a police officer. They're the worst. They're child rapists. They're child rapists. They're wife beaters. They are the enemies of all people in all positions. There are no good cops. There are criminals. There are no good police officers. There are none. There are none. And Chris Lane, I got more experience on this than you do. There are no good cops, and anyone who promotes a police officer is really a servant of the devil, and they cannot ever call themselves a Christian. But I'd love to hear from you, Chris Lane. I'm really, really upset by anybody who promotes the police in any way, especially when it is yeah. Oh, I know exactly what happened, Chris. You can come on the air. He said he was buying little kids' shoes, don't realize what they're a part of. I'm listening. Good. Chris, I've tried to call you, and I haven't heard anything back. I know what was happening. He bought shoes from the dollar store for a little girl, and obviously those shoes aren't going to last more than a month. You know, anybody who knows that. And what did it cost him? $6. This guy's getting paid what, between $60 and $85,000 a year? Is that correct, Chris? I mean, this guy's getting paid, you know, $85,000, and like, you know, I mean, if you want to do a video about me, I can come up with buying shoes for several children at the place, but you know that would only cost like $10. But for me, $10 counts. For that other guy, $6 doesn't count. What are you not sure of, Chris? I mean, the police are criminals. All of them are criminals. None of them are good. And the idea that this guy's taking a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of his pay and buying crappy shoes that aren't going to last for somebody who needs real shoes. I mean, what are they doing there with you? What they get paid? Oh, I've looked it up. I've looked it up. I mean, do you think that guy would ask him? I know what these guys get paid. You can look up whatever the guy's name is. You can look up and see what they get paid. It's public information. I would presume you'd want to know. I'm talking to Chris Lane here, and I'm talking to him. He's commenting. And this is another point. Chris Lane is a, you know, he's a good man. And we've worked together, and we've been in videos together and radio shows together on terrestrial radio, on the internet. And he's a real person. You see, his opinion I care about. Somebody like Adam Green or Pat Little or Jake Morhonios, I don't care. He filled the need in the moment. We were talking about gardens during the community day. Hey, one thing that's really interesting is I'm a gardener. I've actually, going back to when we had an organization called Richmond Peace, we worked and we put up a community garden. We didn't get any coverage from the news. We know how to grow things organically. And, you know, I mean, police and fire were just there. I had nothing to do with it. I mean, isn't it? You promoted them. Okay, so Chris Lane, I believe this is, and I'm just giving context for the thing. And Chris, you can call in. David, put that call-in number out there. We're going to see if you can call in. I would love to have Chris Lane call in because I would love to discuss this. The call-in number is 646-668-2151. That number again, 646-668-2151. And the fire department, they are as bad as the police. They are child rapists. You know, here's the thing. We don't have anything to do with in our church. You got to be 25 years or older to even be a member. Yeah, go ahead.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, who's talking? Hello?
Hello? Anybody on the line?
Anybody on the line?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, well, who was just talking? Come out, man.
Let me just finish up. Yeah, I was don't interrupt you, man.
Okay. Hey, Chris Lane, 646-668-2151. I mean, if you're just going to write a note and ask me to come out, you know, ask me to come out on the air. I mean, you know, at this point, I'm just repeating what you're writing, so I'm just asking you to call in. And, you know, if I invite you to do something, which you and I have worked together over the years, I call you up on the telephone and ask you. You asked me to go to the National Prayer Breakfast last year at the state capitol, and and I really didn't want to get involved with any 501c3 stuff or any nonsense like that. But hey, please call in. Let's have this discussion, because this is a real issue. It shook me to the core when I saw you promoting a police officer. And I mean, I just can't say, like, I'm like, oh my God, that is crazy. That is absolutely insane. And again, the children are the property of their parents. And hello? Is somebody on the line? Okay.
I'm still here. That was talking, Chris. Let me finish up and just say goodbye, you guys. I appreciate it. And one thing is this one note. I'm sure a little bit of history is several years ago, bombing was occurring. I think Israel was bombing Gaza, and they decided to beam in pornography into Gaza Strip, and the Palestinians really complained about this. So there's so many passions being really ensnared on the American people through this pornography.
No, right. Okay. All right, man. Hey. All right. Thanks a lot, man. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. All right, Chris Lane. Getting back to, and like, when did that happen? Did you hear anything about that? Who was doing this? What? They're bombing them and then streaming in whatever? If they're bombing them, they didn't have any electricity. Come on, man. These jokers that call in. Okay, so they're bombing them and streaming in pornography. David, does that make any sense to you?
I've never heard anything like it.
I mean, okay, so, and a few years ago, like, how many times did they bomb Gaza? I mean, do they think that we're stupid when these guys come in and throw out these hypotheticals that didn't happen? When I'm right in the middle of a real person, talking to a real person. Chris Lane, please call in. Who's ducking from bullets? There's hundreds of kids there that unfortunately have to duck from bullets. Really? Are there hundreds of kids there ducking from bullets? Can you duck from a bullet? Chris Lane, please call in. You're on the line. David, are you watching this? I really can't see. I need this to be managed. All right, Chris Lane, we got Chris Lane on the line. I apologize to Chris Lane, and I am okay. You should be able to. You should be.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Chris. Hey, it's great to have you on the show. You and I have been working together for a number of years. I mean, we have been through a few very tenuous situations with the police. You and I, on camera, seen by many people, right? And we're all armed, of course. The police are armed, and we're armed with similar guns. And we are within the law, and the police are always outside of the law. I mean, there's lots of videos of you and me. Do you don't dispute my characterization of the work you and I have done together over the years, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Because, I mean, Chris Lane is one of a small handful of people who has gone out and done the right thing and is really kind of, well, before being videotaped with the police, beyond question. But I would love to meet with these police officers and have another videotape conversation with them and require them to hand over their weapons because they are terrorists. And again, getting back to how much these guys are getting paid, you don't think this guy's getting paid less than $50,000 a year, do you? Chris?
He's probably not, but I do.
Yeah. He's.
And I don't,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't disagree with anything you said, Chris. I don't disagree with anything you said. Talking about all the kids in Gilpin Court, you know, in the state of Virginia, that's one of the largest apartment complexes. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's literally hundreds of children there. My wife and I have been in that community ministering to those kids and families for several years now.
Yeah.
And they put a community day together, and the police and fire showed up. And like I said, I don't disagree with anything you said, but I do think everyone has the potential, just like I did, just like you did at some point, to have their heart changed.
Yeah.
So we can all focus on the mission together.
Amen. Amen. I agree 100% with you. But what I'm saying is that process, we must facilitate that process, and that process includes and is exclusive to the police turning over their weapons and arresting their superior officers. And the same goes with the military, because they are exclusively following orders, and they're exclusively following orders to, if you're talking about in the legal sense, to violate the law of the land. If you're talking about in a religious sense, their orders are coming directly from the adversary of God, the devil incarnate, and that they're.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so that is excellent, and I'm very happy that you called in, Chris, because I would like to facilitate that. I think that we have a lot that we can do as far as, you know, waging war against our enemies, smiting the enemies of God, and I believe that we can do this by and large using nonviolence, and that requires that the police hand over their weapons, and the law requires that, and they need to be chastised publicly. I mean, they really need to have somebody who comprehends the law discuss with them the fact that they need to hand over their weapons. Now, I've done that to the previous 2 police chiefs, gone up to them with my weapon on police property, which is government property, and required that the police hand over their weapons after stating what their crimes are. And I've firsthand experience with being the receiver of treasonous offenses. I've had many felonies committed against me by the police. And so that's the only solution to this. And Gilpin Court, it's very interesting. They used to think I was the gang leader down in Gilpin Court, but when we would go in front of Bobby Scott's office back in 2008 and 2009, I ran into a real gang leader down there. Richmond has the largest per capita number of citizens in public housing projects of any other place on the East Coast. Now, these public housing projects, nothing good will ever come for the people until they get out of the public housing projects. They are open air drug markets. They are, and when I questioned who was ducking bullets, now I know. The children in Gilpin Court are ducking bullets. That place is an absolute nightmare. Now, I used to go down there all the time, and there was a open air drug market, and that's all. There's a convenience store.
Let me jump in real quick, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with anything you said, and you know I'm a Marine, and I've been waging war my entire life, so that's not a problem with me. The Gilpin Court folks, a little girl, a 5-year-old girl, she has 2 brothers, Hanif and Kylan, and an older sister named Angel, literally witnessed a guy get shot right at their front door. I mean, this little girl, who I had the pleasure to baptize over a year ago, witnessed that. And although you do see the open-air drugs and, you know, the tiger mark right down at the end of the road, folks go in there with their government EBT, and, you know, the guy will charge them double and give them beer or cigarettes. So there's a lot of problems that need dealt with. But my focus on this mission, I'm really trying to think, what would Jesus do? You know, there's so many kids over there. And like I told a father, You know, his son, anytime we go there, this is a 10-year-old, he opens up in prayer. And the dad went from kind of just hanging out doing his thing to starting his own business to leave a legacy for the kids. And I said, instead of you taking your family and moving out to where you've been your entire life, let that light come in. And, you know, they can fight the government. There's so many things they can do, but they just need empowered. And running from it, you know, Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron. They have the potential to really be a lighthouse in that area. And that's been my prayer.
Amen. And nobody can ever say that Chris Lane has not dedicated his life to helping people, because he has. And I will say, I take a bit of a different approach. I don't believe that I believe that the hope for everyone in this country, because well, I'll get to the point, is just simply abolishing this government. And I will say this. I will say my lifestyle and my income is closer to the income of those living in Gilpin Court and public housing projects in Richmond than it is to somebody like a police officer. So when I was discussing with Chris Lane, like, how much these guys make, if somebody is a captain or higher in the Richmond Police Department, or pretty much anywhere where you are, they're making between $85,000 and $150,000 a year. And you see, Treason pays well, and the military, they get paid pretty well as also, and teachers, they get paid pretty well also. When you start talking about folks who are making $10 and $15 and even $18 and $20 an hour, the teachers, the cops, which get paid a lot more than teachers, and the firefighters, they live pretty good. They live a different kind of lifestyle than the rest of us do, where we worry about having enough money to eat, when we worry about having enough money to pay for our basic needs. And then there's the class under people like me, which are the folks that are living in public housing projects. And I've been to Gilpin Court many, many times. I've been inside the closet-like apartments in there, and there's no reason, with all the wealth that there is in this country, there's no reason for folks to be living like this, and they are trapped. They're trapped in a government experiment in these public housing projects. And I do believe that that's accurate. I believe that Richmond has the highest per capita percentage of its citizens living in public housing project of any place on the East Coast. Ryan Rodriguez believes that it might be New York City. Let's look into it. Maybe that's changed over the past 5 or so years, but I'm pretty certain Richmond has a higher per capita public housing project. I'm talking per capita. Obviously, New York City is going to beat everybody with their numbers. They have a higher population, but Richmond has countless numbers of public housing projects, and that's because, that's what socialism looks like. That is the legacy of socialism, is that they're trapped. They're trapped in this open air drug market that's surrounded by the police at all times. So Chris, since you're on the line, and it's been a while since we've been on a broadcast together, we've been saying this same kind of stuff about abolishing the government for quite a while, and I'm saying, like, steps to move forward. I used to go to every Richmond City Council meeting and every government meeting I could. That's become too dangerous for me. So I would love to be able to go back to these sorts of meetings, but it's too dangerous for me to go by myself. It's too dangerous for me to confront the police by myself anymore, because they will trump up charges, disappear me, try to take out a literal hit on me. I've confronted many Richmond police officers for being in on an attempt to kill me. I mean, and this is for folks who know how this operation works. This isn't hyperbole. This is plain talk. So we're looking to get back into confronting the government with the ultimate goal of abolishing this government and restoring the Constitution, which is based in the Bible. We trust in the Bible, and our government and our ancestors based their lives on the Bible. And in order to restore that, we would have to abolish the government and arrest and give capital punishment to, I would say at least a couple 100,000 government and corporate officials. And this is the only hope. I mean, we've been through all the possibilities. We talk about continuity of operations, continuity of government. And I apologize for the long lead in, but I just want to lay it all out there. The Pentagon reservation, the fact that the Constitution doesn't apply, and there is martial law in the United States, and it's becoming more and more obvious. Everything you and I and others predicted 10 and 12 years ago about the FEMA camps, they're out in everybody's face. So I'm looking forward to working together with people like Chris Lane to forward this agenda. And yeah, like you said, you've been waging war your entire life, and I feel that it's time for the people to really fight back, because this is nothing but war being waged against us. And whatever the government can do to us, we can do to them, and we have more numbers, and we're correct. We have the right on our side, and this is just the only solution, is to abolish this government. And I just want to get your thoughts on all that I just said there.
Seconds.
Do we still have Chris Lane on the line?
I'm still on the line.
It doesn't look like Chris Lane. Yeah, it looks like Chris Lane dropped. Anyway, well, hey, that was Chris Lane. Always happy to talk to him, and I'm gonna follow up with Chris Lane. I'm gonna call him up, and we're gonna discuss this. We got bounced off. Okay, he's trying to call back. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, try.
I tell you what.
No. Hopefully he can call back before. Yeah, call back as soon as you can, because if you get back on before the show ends, I think we can probably stay on for a couple minutes. And I'm reloading the page. What's going on? Are you seeing Chris Lane call back in?
I'm off my computer. My computer was it had to update, but I'm still trying to get on my phone.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully we'll get Chris Lane. Go ahead, David.
While we're waiting, a lot of people must remember what we were sent here for. We were sent here to transform this earth into God's kingdom, into a place like heaven. That means his laws reach out to man, economically and agriculturally, and scientifically as well. The book of Genesis is a perfect example of, God's scientific ability and his ways. In the beginning there was Genesis, there was genetics. We say that a lot. And again, specifically the Bible talks about, employing people, and evenly and in a way that benefits all. In other words, everybody goes to IT jobs and infrastructure today, and everything's digital currency on a computer. Nothing's independent anymore. And and what else do you think the Bible is a manual on? A lot of times it talks nothing but about Satan's global government. About how there are times where it's very obvious where there's a global ruling power throughout the world. I mean, are you still on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening, David. Yeah. Go.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was just making sure. But yeah, you pretty much understand what I'm saying. This is nothing new. The Bible, it's a manual for your life for a reason, because it's again, it talks about being inclusive and very judgmental of who you interact with. I mean, because it is we are God's people are to be in simple terms segregated from Satan's people. It's that simple. God calls for the separation of his people and the devils, or the Antichrist. And we are not to compromise or to make any deals with the Antichrist system. In other words, people say, or well, that's the only way you can do business these days is through the Federal Reserve bank system, the devil system. Well, if you want to do business, you choose to do business through the devil system, then by God, you can expect, the only outcome of that is going to be, is not going to be good. Because it's just simple. We are violating God's law. We're like somebody who has chosen not to eat food anymore. But that's a basic need.
Well, here, let's take it right out of the Bible here, David. Let's take it right out of the Bible here.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Please, Chris.
Yeah. Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Luke 18:25. For it is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. James 5:1-6. Hold on. Let's see. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and ye shall eat flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. There's more. Luke 12:33. Sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that failed not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I know, Chris. You can come on the Facebook Live thing now if you want. You gotta send a you gotta send a request to be on the Facebook Live, because I tried to go through and see if I could invite you on the Facebook Live, but you can send me a request to appear on this on the show on Facebook Live if you want. But I guess since we had a 2-hour show, they're still letting us broadcast, but they're not letting us take any more calls on Blog Talk Live. Luke 4:5-7. Take care of kids and families in the process. Yeah. Let's find that for Chris Lane. Let's see. We were just going through Bible verses about wealthy and rich people, and now we're going to look up Luke. And that's 4:5 verses 5 through 7. Luke 4, 4 and 5. No, not T. This thing is so frustrating. Through 7. Let's see here. So, yeah, thanks. Money or God? Yeah, that's right. Money or God. Because money is the mono eye, the one eye that describes is described in the Bible. That's the pineal gland and pituitary gland, and they call it the mono eye. That's where we get the words money from. So you can have the real one eye, the mono eye, that connects and makes you an enlightened spiritual servant of God, or you can go for the artificial route and go for the money, the artificial money. Let's see. This is right. Okay. Luke 4, 5 through 7. The devil led him up to a high place and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. And he said unto him, I will give you all their authority and splendor. It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want. If you worship me, it will be all yours. Yeah, that's what all these folks who are, moving forward in society, that's what they're doing. They're serving the devil's system. This system is of the devil. It is based in usury. Hey, here's my favorite one that we've been really focusing on the past several weeks. Are you a breathe Aryan? I don't know. And let's go here about usury in the Bible. What does it say in the Bible about usury? Well, it says a lot of things about Bible in the usury in the Bible. But here we'll go to our most famous one, the most important one, I think. And it tells us how we shall deal with all of those who are benefiting from this society. This is Ezekiel 18:13. Hath given forth upon usury and hath taken increase. Shall he then live? Question mark. He shall not live, semicolon. He hath done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. We go through this all the time. All the time we forward this message. Let's see. He that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance, he shall gather it for him that will pity the poor. Take thou no usury of him. This is Leviticus 25:36. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Amen. All right, so, hey, I'm really happy. I'm very, very happy that we got a chance to talk to Chris Lane, and I always have respect for Chris Lane, and Chris Lane has he's walked the walk for many years, and I mean, more people have watched my videos with Chris Lane than watched all of the videos combined on No More News before 2018. So, I don't know what to say. We confront government criminals with our guns. That's not crazy. That's really just crazy if you don't do that. It's crazy if you do the other thing. If you don't go up to the police while you're armed with a gun and say, hand over your weapons, number one, you don't know anything about the law, and number two, you're crazy because you're giving your enemy the power to kill you anytime that they wish with no repercussions. So, anyhow, I think we still have David on the line. David, you wanna close us out with anything? I'm gonna close out here in just a few minutes. David, are you on the line here? All right. So I'm gonna wait a minute, and I looks like David's still on the line. David, are you there? All right. Well, I guess since David is not there, I want to thank David Dauterive. Hopefully, we'll get in touch with Clifford Eberhardt. I wish Clifford would just call the show like he has been doing. There's a number of things I wish to discuss with Clifford about the fact that Adam Green's targeting Clifford and not saying his name, and want to talk. Had somebody contact me and say Zach Hubbard wants to talk. That's fine. I'll talk with Zach Hubbard. And that's about it. We went through everything. We have talked about all the important subjects, all the topics, the Russian mafia that controls all the governments of the world. The only solution is abolishing the government. And anyone who doesn't think abolishing the government is a solution, their opinion doesn't mean a thing. Yeah, I would love to have Ziggy back on the show. Who said that? Man, this stuff, I can't even keep up with that. Yeah, I would love to have Ziggy back on the show. All right, we're going to block John Thomas. Block John Thomas. So, thanks for watching, everybody. This is Chris Dorsey, the Virginia Militia, signing off. Peace and God bless.